Alrighty, here we are on the InfoWars. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody heard about this Indian trucker guy, but let's get into it. Victims of big rig U-turn horror on Florida highway identified as Haitian migrants. Now, what kind of migrants are they? Are they legal? Are they illegal? Does it matter? Well, let's get into it. 3 people were yeeted when an illegal trucker from India made an unlawful maneuver on a Florida highway this month. Has been identified as Haitian citizens, at least one of whom entered the U.S. during Biden's years, according to reports. The horrifying tragedy unfolded on August 12th on Florida's Turnpike in St. Lucia County. Harjinder Singh, 28, reportedly executed an illegal... Why is it reportedly? If I'm not mistaken, there was only one way to turn, which was right, but he turned left. So I could be wrong, but that's what I've heard. Blocking multiple lanes in the process. Moments later, a minivan slammed into the trailer, ultimately yeeting all 3 people inside. The driver of the van, 30-year-old Herbie Durfrissen, was rushed to hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. Durfrissen arrived in the U.S. in 2023 among roughly 211,000 Haitian nationals who took advantage of the Biden regime's CHVN parole program, which enabled more than 530,000 citizens of Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela to fly into the U.S. airports after receiving prior clearance. So these flights, I'm guessing the U.S. government paid for them? Yeah, that's pretty sad. I'm guessing. Durfrissen's passengers who died at the scene have been identified as Fenola Josephine, 37, and Rodrigue Dor, 54. Both men were also citizens of Haiti, although their immigration histories remain unclear. All 3 Haitians were originally residents of Florida, but had recently moved to Indiana, where returning from a shopping trip to Miami at the time of the crash. Friends of Durfrissen told the Herald. Singh initially traveled back to his home base in California following the catastrophe. Isn't that kind of like fleeing the scene of a crime? But was arrested by U.S. Marshals on August 16th and extradited to Florida. He was charged with 3 counts of vehicular homicide and 3 counts of manslaughter. So this guy's driving a big rig, but he doesn't even speak English. That's why he couldn't communicate with the officers. Then he shouldn't be driving a big rig. He should be doing something else that's nowhere near as dangerous. Or he shouldn't even be in the country. How about that? So as you can imagine, when people heard that these were Haitians who got yeeted, a lot of them weren't so upset. For me, I would never wish harm on anybody. But that being said, let's look at some of these comments. Beth Walters, I'm officially less upset about it. Sam, rig driver clearly made a mistake. However, imagine driving the crashed car. I would have assessed the situation ahead of time and tried to slow down. Looks like the car driver was paying no attention to the road, or did not have a driver's license, or perhaps busy on a cell phone. I can agree with this, because like 2 weeks ago, a similar situation happened to me. I was behind a big rig, and just below the stop sign was a sign that said, right turn only. Guess what the big rig did? They turned left. He turned left. What did that do? It blocked the whole highway, but there was no crash. Everybody was stopped. Hell, if I remember correct, nobody honked their horn. But that's probably the whole Canadian, eh? Oh, geez there, eh? You're making an illegal turn, eh? Well, I'm gonna stop there, eh? And not even honk my horn. In all seriousness, though, I wish I had my phone and I could have recorded it. Because honestly, That's the exact same thing the Indian guy in the States did. But anyway, let's continue with the article. Not making light of this, had neither of these illegals been in the country, everyone would be alive. Don't go where you're not invited or supposed to go. Now, as for that one Haitian guy, he was let in under Biden. So, was he legal? Technically, but at the same time, Biden probably didn't even sign the orders. It was probably the auto pen? Saint Max, DEI must die, or we will all die. I don't want to agree with that, but Westerners are dying off. Low birth rate. More so in Europe. And what do corporates do? They bring in cheap replacements. I cannot understand one thing. How the minivan driver didn't notice this large truck. Yeah, exactly. The situation that I encountered 2 weeks ago, like I said, everybody stopped. So, the driver of the minivan probably wasn't paying attention. So I decided to look up this CHNV program. The CHNV program, Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans parole program, was a set of humanitarian parole initiatives established by the Biden administration beginning in January 2023 to provide legal pathway for nationals of these 4 countries to enter and reside in the United States for up to 2 years. Yeah, after that period, what's going to happen to them if they don't willingly leave? It's like, you're going to have to, track them down? Anyway, continuing. The program allowed up to 30,000 individuals per month to enter the U.S. if they had a sponsor in the country who agreed to financially support them and pass security and background checks. So, circling back to the whole sponsoring thing. Now, who can sponsor them? Can a corporation sponsor them? I don't know. But wouldn't that be kind of interesting? Corporation says, oh yeah, I'll sponsor them. I need more cheap workies. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, let's continue. The program was modeled after the Uniting for Ukraine initiative and was implemented in a response to significant political, social, and economic instability in those 4 countries, as well as a surge in unauthorized border crossings. By January 2025, approximately 553,000 people had been granted parole through the CHIV program, with majority between 2023 and 2024. The program was credited with significantly reducing unauthorized border crossing by CHIV nations. Well, of course it did. You let them in. You let in, a little more than 500,000 of them. So, of course, unauthorized border crossings from those 4 countries were reduced. You let them in legally so they didn't have to come in illegally. Talk about rewarding bad behavior. But let's continue. Parolees were permitted to work. Well, of course they were. That's probably why they were let in. And seek other immigration benefits such as asylum or temporary protected status during their stay. The program was terminated by the Trump administration. I'm going to say, good. Well, anywho, that's it for my thoughts on this matter. Take care out there in clown world.